are today we are talking self-employed people, individuals getting qualified for homeownership. It is really a challenge for most, or they think it's a challenge because they haven't set themselves up properly, and then when it's time to purchase a home, they've taken all of their write-offs, which you can take. They are legal for you to take those, but it kills you when you're getting ready to purchase a home. So today we're going to talk about how you get yourself prepared and ready to purchase a home ahead of time. We plan for what we want, and so in planning, you need to have the right information. So, got some really great bullets from our lender that could help you as well today. So, I hope this helps a lot of you understand that the process is not as hard as most people make it out to be. You can get the home that you want based on your income, but we're going to talk about a few things, and that is your top line number and your adjusted gross net, how that affects you for your tax returns, and also how that adjusted gross net can go up or down based on the write-offs that you have. So for the average self-employed person, they're going to have a Schedule C. They're going to take those write-offs on that schedule and then bring that over to their personal tax return. And on that number, on that line, it's going to be their adjusted gross income. That adjusted gross income, typically, most would think, well, this is how much money I've made. Not for underwriting purposes for purchasing a home. So at this time of year, before you file your taxes, this would be a great time to get pre-qualified with a lender based on what you made last year. And if you made more this year, it will allow you to know how much of my write-off should I actually take this year. Some of those write-offs you may not want to take, so that it will put you in a position that you can buy a little bit more home. So talk to your lender, talk to your CP about what that magic number is for you, but that adjusted gross net number is not the final number that the underwriter looks at. If you have other properties, rental properties, if you have machinery in your business, there's depreciation taken there on that schedule that they would add back. So that's out of my wheelhouse. I'm just telling you what I know from seeing files for self-employed people for years and years and years. That adjusted gross net number is not your final number. So whatever that number is, make sure you talk to your lender first before you decide to start looking for a home, because you cannot assume anything. There are no assumptions here. You need to go through a desktop underwriting process, and that desktop underwriting process could save you a ton of money. And that means the computer will decide, do we need 1 year tax returns or do we need 2? And if the desktop says you only need 1, you don't have to show 2 years of tax return. And so if you're buying for 2019, those 2018 taxes will allow you to say, okay, last year my adjusted gross net was 80,000. This year I might be at 85 if I take all my write-offs, but if I don't take some of my write-offs and just leave them, I could be at 100, and now a $100,000 adjusted gross net versus an 80,000 adjusted gross net is going to give you a lot more buying power. So that's something that you need to consider before you file your taxes. So get qualified with the lender before you file your tax returns for 2019, so you're in a position that you can buy a little bit more home and be in the neighborhood that you want. So desktop underwriting is something that every lender has. They put your information in the system, and what makes you look good for desktop underwriting? More reserves, more cash reserves. So the more money you have in the bank, the more money you have in a 401k. Don't hide that information. So I have people who say, oh, I don't want them to know I have this much money. Well, how are they going to help you if they don't know you have that much money? So you need to show the money that you have, and it can't be under your mattress. This money needs to be in an account. It has to be sourced, and it has to be seasoned. So you couldn't go put in $20,000 in the bank today and close on a house tomorrow. That money has to be sourced and seasoned for underwriting purposes. So that money needs to be in your account, and it needs to have come from somewhere. There needs to be a paper trail, or it has to be a cash deposit in your account that is seasoned. So making sure that you look really, really great on paper means you get yourself all buttoned up and dressed up for underwriting. You get yourself buttoned up and dressed up for this lending process. And the way you do that is that you look good on paper. That means that you have great reserves in place, you have money in a 401k, some sort of reserves. If you have property, list that. All of those properties are considered assets. They're going to be on your former tax return anyway. So go ahead and put that on the application, because everything that's on the application is how you get approved from a desktop underwriting standpoint. And the number one thing that will shoot you up through the sky is that credit score. So the higher your credit score is, the better off you are in terms of being approved for a 1-year tax return for desktop underwriting. So if you have 3 or 4 credit cards that are maxed out, pay those cards down before you qualify for the home so that you can be in the best situation possible, because that number is going to go up. The magic number is a third. So if you have a credit card balance of $9,000 but your limit is $9,900, that means you only have about 10% of usage available. That number needs to be closer to a third. A third usage on any credit cycle, meaning every line that you have for a revolving credit, you need to be at about a third or 30% usage. That's going to give you the highest credit score possible for your revolving credit. That's the fastest way to get that number up. That number up means less money out of pocket, and we like to keep our money where we can see it, and that's in our account. You don't have to put it down in a down payment if you have a higher credit score. So, self-employed individuals, your takeaways for today should be high reserves, high credit score, fewer write-offs taken if you want to qualify for more home. Talk to the lender. The lender will tell you how much you can qualify for. Text new home to 888-111. The application is there. When you hit that app, we can get you prepared for buying. This is an easy process. It's never no. It's no right now. This is the best time of year to get yourself ready for the homeownership process because you haven't filed your taxes yet. We have until October before those taxes would have to be filed if you are self-employed. So you're in a really, really good situation. And also wanted to leave another nugget for those that are employed with the W-2, but they have a side hustle business. If you have a side hustle business that is typically on your tax return, our lender is only going to look at your W-2 as your income. They're not going to take those write-offs if you don't need them. So we stay away from the tax returns. We go just with the W-2 because oftentimes you're taking write-offs from your business, which will reduce your adjusted gross net. So in this situation, if you have a side business, your W-2, your credit score, and those reserves are going to make you look great on paper, and that's going to get you approved. So if you have any more questions, make sure you DM me. Let us get you credit ready. Let's get you home buying ready. Let's get you all buttoned up.
So is new home one word or 2 words?
New home is 2 words.
Okay.
New home is 2 words.
So what's the good amount I need to have in the bank season to go
That's
for?
That's going to depend on, so there's no magic number that you need to have in the bank, but it's all relative. So if you're buying a $150,000 house, if you've got $4,500 in your account or $10,000 in your account, you look great. If you're buying a $300,000 house and you only have $10,000 in the bank, that doesn't look good to the lender because your down payment alone is going to be more than that. So you need to consider how much home you're buying, and that's going to be relative to how much money you need to show in reserves for the lending process. Your minimum down payment is going to be 3 to 3.5% if you're doing a conventional loan or an FHA loan. There are some 100% programs available. If you're doing a 100% program, of course you look great on paper because you don't have to put any money down. So that money in reserves is all going to be used as an asset for you because you're not going to have to bring that to the table for closing.